Hello, my Teaserking family. Just a second, my Teaserking family. All right. Had to talk to Dario when she's at work, so she gets a minute to text. Anyway, how is everybody today? I am fine. I'm on day 7 of my one a day eating. It's not bad. I definitely lost a lot of weight, but I don't weigh myself, so I really have no idea. I just finished doing my income tax. Well, they were done. I just paid the income tax. No reason to pay it early. I love how they call unemployment and it's an insurance payment. Oh, why? How is it income? Anyway, um, gold. Let's talk gold. So, what's going on with gold? Major price fixing going on yesterday. So at about 11:15, right after I bought my gold, the price goes from 24.27 down to 23.26 after like 3 hours of shorting it. Just amazing. So it drops $90. It ends 23.44. If you looked at the day like that, you'd be pissed off. If you look at the day where, well, we're at 23.20, we finally broke through 23, and we're at 23.20 a day before. It's not so bad. So try to look at it like that. Try to look at it, well, at least we're in the 23s and we're going to 3,000. Silver got really fucked. It went from 29.71. So let's change the chart to silver. And look at it. It's up to 29.72, and they're freaking out that it's going to go over 30, and then it goes to 35. And they do this. Look at this. They drop it $2. Not one, but $2. This is such bullshit. Now, we know it's not profit taking. We know it's derivatives. We know it's the central bank and JP Morgan putting in all these shorts, and they're going to get burned because it's all going to go up because there's huge demand for silver. So this is not profit taking. However, this is, I think, what you see in stocks that you don't really see. You see the price going down and you don't know, you're blindsided. You have no idea. And then usually what happens is they drop the price $5 and then they buy it and then they do this to get it up. But you don't see that. You just see the price drop and you have no idea. I'm reading here, profit taking. No, it's not profit taking. Then I read, I love the explanation. Let's go into the explanation of why is gold going up? And I love this explanation. And if I can see it. Gold soars past 2,400 as Costco bullion. Now, did they adjust the price as the Fed starts taking it? The analyst said the release stemmed from the traditional view of gold as a safe haven in times of continued political and economic unrest. They also credited strong buying from central banks, particularly the People's Bank of China and India and Russia. And Beijing has been adding to its official gold reserves in the past 14 months, in part to diversify from the dollar in light of the recent. Yeah, it's all about the dollar. They're all getting out of the dollar, which is why this is such bullshit, this price. The experts are baffled. Not this expert. That's what I love about it. The rally is defying a lot of normal thinking, especially when it comes to still elevated rates. Ole Henson, Saxo Bank, and one unusual beneficiary of the renewed attention of gold has been Costco. Okay. So the explanation they try to give you is it's a, fair, it's a safety issue. We're not buying this for the safety of it. We're buying this because we're getting out of the dollar because it's worthless, and it's going to go up in price dramatically. As you see it hitting 2,400, the Fed freaks out, going, "Oh, we can't have gold going to its normal price. We have to interfere." What happened to laissez-faire economics? Leave it alone. Get the government out of it. Let it be between me and the seller. Why are you interfering? Why are you putting in fake derivatives that are fake selling? Why are you doing that? Anyway, so that's my point. And it really pisses me off because we know KC's going to win. It's like one of these football games. KC's going to win because of Mahomes. And they start calling these holding penalties and pass interference and all these bullshit penalties that it's fixed. But they don't want the game to get too out of hand. So the team down 10 gets all these penalties and gets down to the goal line with the 8 of all these penalties. And it only happens once in the game. It's so obvious it's fixed. But at the end of the day, Mahomes wins. And at the end of the day, we're buying gold and silver to get out of the dollar because we can't stay in it. It has no value, but they don't want to tell you that. Just like they want to say, well, gold's for safe haven and gold, China's getting out of the dollar, as is every central bank. Why are they getting out of the dollar? Because of the stupid inflation. Because you got MMT guys running it saying, you know what, you can print as much as you want and there's no consequence. What a bunch of idiots. And these guys are running it and you wonder why it's collapsing. So we're getting out. Now, I was watching this video yesterday from some idiot. I couldn't believe how stupid this guy is. So please do not watch this video. I'm not going to show it. I'm just going to show the video. This guy's so stupid, it's scary. This guy here, this rebel capitalist. Please do not watch him. He's a Peter Schiff and a Sailor fan. He goes to Argentina, and they're having hyperinflation because they printed their money to death like everybody else. It's funny how you print your money and you have hyperinflation, and that's it. But he doesn't tell the whole story. He lies. He says, well, I tried selling gold and silver and Bitcoin in Argentina, which had me thinking, what the fuck's going on? Well, I couldn't find a coin store. Well, I don't believe that. I'm sure guys selling gold just like everywhere else. He says, well, I couldn't find anywhere to sell it. And then, nobody could give me the full value. There was a few people who would take it. Then he shows a bunch of people in line at the ATM, and they could only get $40 a day because all the banks are collapsing. And so he tries to paint the picture, I got it. It's now worth $10,000. How do I, but I can't sell it. And then he keeps not understanding what a medium of exchange is. He doesn't understand what is it? It's not, gold is not what do you call it? I always call it, they can't print it. They always call it something else. Third party, it's like there's no third party to it. And he says, well, there is if nobody will buy it. So he doesn't even understand what a market is, right? And then you're sitting there going, well, what are you talking about? This is first of all, you got to understand the market. Why can't you sell it? You can't go to people in Argentina and have $40 and try to sell them a thing worth $2,500. Not going to happen. As far as I know, if you needed to go into the grocery store, you could use your silver. You had silver. Bitcoin, you could only use to somebody who has Bitcoin. So I didn't understand. He doesn't understand that. But people are in line trying to get their $40 out of the ATM at the bank. Well, this is, first of all, what do I say? Get your money get your money into gold and silver. So I was selling it. Well, let's see. We can go on eBay. We can go to the coin store, all that stuff. Now, you don't try to sell it to the inflated currency. In other words, I wouldn't sell gold and get the Zimbabwe bullshit currency, but I would sell gold to get the Zimbabwe gold-backed currency. So that's what I want to sell it for. So this guy's so clueless. I watched a few minutes and I just like, this guy's too stupid to watch. And he tries to come across as some economist, like everybody else tries to come across as an economist, but he's not. He's clueless. So basically, he doesn't understand it, but he tries to come across. So he's trying to say, oh, if you buy gold, you can't sell it. Well, we're not trying to sell it to the inflated currency. And when the currency goes away, gold will be the currency. And you'll use it to pay for everything. There's not going to be, when this goes away, you're going to go use this. And that's okay. That's the point of it. There's always a medium of exchange. In Argentina, they've hyperinflated their money. I'm sure there's other money like US dollars, like there is in Africa. But that's it. I mean, that's the point of the medium of exchange. So you can buy and sell goods. And the dollar right now, you change in, so I go buy it. So like I said, I spent $670 on this yesterday, just before the price tanked $60, $70. Now, what did that cost me? $15, maybe 20 at the most. So big deal. I don't care. I got another quarter ounce of gold, which is the most important. And I got 7 ounces of silver, which I showed you yesterday. So I'm still getting out of my dollar. See, when the dollar gets inflated, it does become worthless, which is what we know. That's why we're getting into gold and silver in the first place. This guy didn't get that. So where are you going with it, right? If you're getting out of the dollar, what is your choice then, fella? Tell me what else you would do. Keep the dollar till it goes to zero? No. Get out of the dollar and go to where? And your only choice is gold and silver. So then along the line, we want to sell some of it. Where do we go? Well, there should be a new medium of exchange in America. What Argentina was doing was they were just limiting the dollars out. I don't know if they're trying to reverse inflation by not lending, not giving any more money out and tightening and getting the money supply, but that's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is come out with a new currency, very limited, and keep it limited. And that's why he gets backed by gold. He chose to use the US dollar. So I don't know why the US dollar doesn't have a value in Argentina like it has a value in every other country. I mean, when I go to Berlin and I go to Barcelona, I'm using my debit card, my credit card, mostly my credit card. Nobody has a problem with it. They go, do you want it in US dollar or euro? So there's the option. So as far as I can see, it's always multiple. So now the shit's hit the fan. Gold's now 10,000 an ounce. The dollar's going out. What do we do? Well, there's going to be a new currency. It's going to be called BRICS, gold-backed currency. Can we get that? Not sure. What will the U.S., the euro, and Switzerland and England do? London. What are they going to do? Africa will all go gold-backed currency. So if I go to Africa or I go to BRICS and I give them this, I'm going to get currency back for it. All their stores will change to gold-backed currency. So that's how you'll buy things. So of course they'll take gold. Should be able to go to any bank in any BRICS country, and I'll probably go to Russia, what Daria is, and I should be able to say, here, give me so many BRICS gold-backed dollars, and here you go. I'm not quite sure. They keep calling the BRICS digital. I think the transactions between countries will be digital, but I think like Daria or the regular people will get regular money. Otherwise, I'm not sure how I would turn this into a digital thing, but I'm sure there's a way. My right now, if I want to sell, I go to my gold store. I go to my coin store. He sells money all the time. So I'm hearing these. Well, I'm in Argentina. Well, what the fuck are you trying to sell your gold in Argentina for in the middle of hyperinflation? It's not, and you don't want those bills anyway. So I'm thinking, well, I can go to my coin store. eBay is a good option. Now, what are they going to do? US dollar goes out. How's eBay going to work? But as far as I know, they'll have other currencies and you will trade it for that. Just like, so I'm really lost by this guy being so stupid. Then I was reading on Costco. They're like 100 million a month in gold sales. And these are the 1 ounce Swiss bars. These aren't the coins. These are bars, and they're all 1 ounce. And you can only apparently get 2 or 3 online, and you got to use your credit card to pay for it, something like that. So I was at the coins shop yesterday, and the guy's telling me about it. And I'm going, I don't care. Then I was reading, I saw it today, and I was reading where it's saying about, yeah, it's easy to buy at Costco, but you can't sell it at Costco. See, they keep trying to scare everybody. Like, well, you can buy the gold, but how are you going to sell it? Which got me thinking, because I'm stoic, and I'm saying, well, as far as I'm concerned, I'll go to the gold store. He'll be open. He's not going anywhere. Even if we change currencies, I'll have to have a talk with him to see what he's going to do, but we'll come out with the new currency. That's what he'll use. And we'll get to that point when they introduce and announce the new currency. Right now, it's still dollars. It's dollars that aren't worth anything. And we don't want to be in them. As I said, you don't want to get back into the dollar. So what we're going to probably do is we'll check eBay. We'll check the gold store. He's not going anywhere. He's not going out of business. People will sell the gold, and then it'll be even higher demand when the dollar goes out. Everybody will be running for gold and silver. So, I'm thinking like, now the question is the new currency, but we got the same right now. Our problem's getting out of this. This is our problem. How the hell do we get out of this? Right. And we buy gold and silver. There's no other option. And that's it. So right now we are doing exactly what we should be doing. And then at the time we want to sell it, if we want to sell it now, it's not a problem. We get US dollars. Am I going to Zimbabwe to get Zimbabwe dollars if I want to sell it? No, but I might go to Zimbabwe to get gold-backed dollars, especially at 13 to 1. I really want to check into that. It seems like the steal of the century. As much as silver's the steal of the century, taking 10 grand and getting 13 to 1 for gold back money. So it's I'm getting gold. It's unbelievable, right? I mean, maybe I'm the only, of course, I'm probably the only guy thinking of this, but so I give them $100, I get 1,300. How much gold? Now I can buy even more gold with 1,300 than I could with the 100 US. So, I got to look at, oh, maybe not. Maybe it's the same. I don't know. But that is food for thought. Bobby, we're headed to Zimbabwe to the restaurant. What is it? Capitol Grill. Maybe they have a Capitol Grill in Zimbabwe we'll go to. We'll take 10 grand and buy a whole shitload of gold for real cheap. I saw this video. Why South Africa is, I haven't watched it yet. Why South Africa is in control of Africa. And I would guess it's again the US and playing their shit. Now this is our buddy's video I haven't watched yet. So I will watch that later. I did watch Egon. I think I showed you Egon's yesterday. So to review everything, you have this Keynesian economist, and they call it MMT, to change it to make, because they're trying to distance themselves. And what do they say? You can print the dollars to pay for your debt as much as you want, and there's no consequence. These have their head up their asses. Obviously, we know that's how the inflation. And every time I play a South Africa or some country or Greece, why they inflated, they printed too much money. So at the end of the day, you can't keep printing. Now the U.S. says, but we're the reserve currency. That's why I showed you John Stossel. So what? The government will keep printing. Yeah, but then nobody will want it because you've printed too much, and they'll realize there's no value in it. Now it's taking people a while to realize the U.S. is gone, but they're starting to realize it. So 100 million a month at Costco really is not that much. If you do the math, 100 million divided by 2,000 is 50 million at 32,000 an ounce. It's only, it's probably a ton is all there. So maybe 1 ton. And it really doesn't get involved in the pricing, as we can see, because the pricing isn't supply and demand. It's not free market pricing, like me selling this at the grocery store for what the customer will pay. It's about it's about the derivatives, JP Morgan, and well, it's more directed from the Fed, and I would assume China wants the price low so they can buy more. The Fed wants the price low so they can keep telling you the fantasy that the dollar's worth something. So that's okay. So, you obviously can't believe the Fed. And, that's the first thing. So we have the MMTs printing in the UK, in central bank, and Europe, central bank for euro and the dollar. And it's all being printed to shit, and all their dollars are worthless. That's the iceberg. We've hit that iceberg, and now all the money is flooded. That's the water, and there's too much of it. It's going over and sinking the ship. And we're the ones going, we notice this. Wait a minute. If you keep printing, it'll go to zero. So we figured that out, and then we get to, okay, what do we do now? And we get off. We got to find a lifeboat. to get off of the boat, off the Titanic, because we've hit the iceberg, MMT, printing money, flood of money in, and we got to get off the boat. We get off the Titanic. We need a lifeboat. We look around, cards, Rolexes, stocks. What do we get into? And it leads us to this and silver. That's what we get into. This is the lifeboat. And it's our only choice. Bitcoin's not a lifeboat because it's priced in dollars. So as the dollar is on the Titanic and the stocks are on the Titanic and the banks are on the Titanic, they're all going down. They're all paper. You need to get off of all of them. So when I hear somebody talking about a stock, well, let's buy this stock or that, you sit there and you scratch your head going, why are you giving stock tips when the stock market's about to crash? And it's funny how they keep printing money and keep putting the stock money markets 38,000. Everything's okay. See, they have an election and you won't vote for them if you realize everything's crap. So they try to make everything look good. This is how phony and stupid this whole freaking government is. Oh no, everything's fine. Yeah, inflation's down. Everything's down. So, okay, fine. Everything's down, then we'll believe you. Yeah. Yeah, 9/11 was, planes actually hit it and the building just collapsed on its own. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, we'll believe that. So that's what you got to do. So you're in the lifeboat. Then you start getting, well, how do you get out of the lifeboat? Right? That's what this Argentina guy says. Well, we went and we couldn't get off the lifeboat. Well, people like that shouldn't be doing shows. It's terrible. Now, when I go to Europe, I don't look for coin stores because I got the best one where I'm at right here. So I just go in and like here, I drove 5 miles and paid $6.75 for this, and I got it. No shipping. I'm home, and I add it to the stack. I always tell Daria it's another family member, and she always laughs at it. But it's as much as you can eat, and being careful with it. But I'm dividing my dollars into gold and then paying my bills. So I'm keeping enough dollars to pay the bills without having to cash out my gold. Now, I'll be surprised if gold, I mean, they're going to lose a lot of money because when the gold price goes up, all the derivatives go to zero. So I think they were cleaning out their derivatives bought at 23.40 and 23.70. So they should have sold them all. And I would imagine that they'll keep going. As far as ETFs going down and no interest, well, what the fuck was, you got 100 million a month at Costco. What do you mean there's no demand? Are you insane? They're just out of ETFs because they're paper. They're not real. ETFs are not real. And we'll play Egon again, but he makes those comments. It's a good video to watch. We played the Zimbabwe one a few times. I don't really need to go into that. And I'll play this Stasa one again, the money hole. I think it hits home. I'm not going to play the MMT one again where they say, oh, we can print as much as we want. I've played that a few times. And I don't mind repeating. I know I get different students, so, not a problem. And I'm not going too much in. Mark McGuire is a waste of time. And on Twitter, I started ripping alligator. I explained what Austrian economics is. I said, it's lower taxes, it's the gold standard, it's free trade, it's the Constitution, and it's low government spending to budget. You're keeping the public sector out and letting the private sector work. That's why you don't want government spending. They build a road. What good is that? I mean, we could build a road privately. We don't need the government. Whoever they hire can still be the same. You just make it a toll road, or fair enough. Or a bridge, same thing. You hire and it's a toll road, or, or you just use taxes. But You don't need the government involved in building a road and schools and building bridges and building a dam. I mean, that's not what the government's role is, right? So you keep the laws private. So I sent that to Alligator on Twitter. I says, this is what you meant to say. I said, if you want to learn Austrian economics, I'll be happy to teach you. But it's clear you don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. And you keep like, why aren't you an Austrian economist? So what are you then? If you're not Austrian, are you Keynesian? No, you're just a banker. You don't even understand economics. See, the more I pry into Alligator, the more I get disappointed. He's not an economist. If he's not an Austrian, so at best case, he's a Keynesian. He keeps thinking it's the dollar going down, not gold going up, which is bullshit. Gold, we just saw gold going up. Okay, so gold went up. You're saying that's the dollar going down, and then yesterday gold went way up and then came back. What was that? Was that the dollar going up and then the dollar going down? And explain that one, Alligator. See, it makes no sense. It's demand. You got 100 million people or 100 million ounces of gold leaving Costco. Is that not demand? So it's just ridiculous. But as long as they want to keep giving us a good price on it, then that's fine. So anyway, that's what's happening. So we're on the lifeboat now. And it's a pretty, the boat sinks, the Titanic sinks. So all the dollars are gone and the stock market crashes and the banks start going out. What happens? All right, well, there'll still be a few banks. JP Morgan, of course, they run the government. So the banks will always be there, but we'll have to replace the money. So ideally, we want a gold-backed currency like they just did in Zimbabwe, which is why I show you Zimbabwe. And that's the first thing. You need the medium of exchange. And the guy kept calling, I don't know if he called gold a medium of exchange, or I think he's thinking it's a medium, but it's not a medium of exchange until it's accepted. A medium of exchange is what everybody wants, but it's got to be able to be used to buy goods and services, to go to the grocery store and use it. So it's not a medium of exchange is what you use to buy goods and service. And the Argentina dollar is hyperinflated and it has no value. Now it's not a medium of exchange. So basically, Argentina doesn't have a medium of exchange, which is surprising because they got all the Argentinian beef, which is supposed to be the best. So you're sitting there. What the hell are they doing? Well, they're following the MMT boys because they're in bed with the U.S. And instead of going to the gold-backed system or joining BRICS, they're going to go down. They're going to go down with the U.S. instead of going up with the BRICS. Just amazingly stupid. So, he's cut costs, but the whole key to a country is your money. You have to have sound money. That's the number one thing. So he's not fixing his money by limiting. All he's doing is running the country. You can only get $40 a day, but I'm sure the cost of the grocery store, you can't buy anything with. And if you got 10 grand in the bank, what good's $40? So you can't get your money out of the bank because they're keeping your money to help. They don't know what they're doing. So it's a big disaster, Argentina. The new president seems to be a Austrian, cutting government spending and stuff. I don't know what he's done with taxes, but you've basically fucked everybody because you don't have sound money. But look at Zimbabwe. What are they doing? Gold-backed currency. So what's the first thing the guy does? Sound money. Everything else will take care of itself. You have sound money that you can't inflate because it's backed by gold and you can only print so much of it. So once you have that, then you'll be fine. And believe me, I'm sure them in Russia are not happy with these derivatives. And the other thing is, what I saw is BRICS is not happy that COMEX controls all the commodities. And I saw that. on one of these YouTube things, and they're all going to go try to free market all the commodities: coffee, orange juice, wheat, gold, silver. They want it free market. They don't want COMEX to control it. Why should COMEX control the oil and gas in Russia and in Dubai and in Saudi Arabia? And why should it control all the minerals and everything in Africa? So they've been keeping the price down for some strange reason. I don't understand why. And they've been printing the dollar to nothing. So it's a double standard of what the fuck are they doing? So with that said, COMEX is on its way out because the BRICS countries, because they have gold, will have the control. You know, the golden rule: he who has the gold makes the rules. We don't have the gold. If we did, we'd show it, and we obviously don't. But because nobody's really sure, there's still value. But now's the time that the U.S. needs to go on the gold standard to do something, and they won't because they're all MMT idiots. See, when you have Keynesians in charge, they believe that what they're doing is correct, even though it's proven it's not. So there's nothing you can do about it but get on the lifeboat. Like, this boat's sinking, let's get off of it. So that's my point. So we want to get off the lifeboat. We need to change some money. This is why we keep money in the house and not in the bank. So if I'm in Argentina, not a problem. I got all my money in the safe. I can go to the grocery store. I don't need to go to the ATM and go to the bank for my money. Now, can I use, if I get my check into my bank account to pay my rent, can I still use that? I can only get $40 cash out, but can I still use the money in my account to pay my bills? This I'm not sure of. But they're on their way out, Argentina. Hyperinflation, you lose. You need a new currency. So I don't know. But this guy really is fucking clueless. A medium of exchange is what people want, and it's used to pay you, and you buy goods and service with it. They don't have that in Argentina now. We kind of have it here, but we prefer the Zimbabwe gold-backed currencies. They're medium of exchange, and they're mighty safe with it now, right? They know they're fine. So again, I'm in my lifeboat, and I need to sell it. I want to buy food or something. Well, I'd go to my coin store. He'll take it. However, what am I going to get with it? If I don't want American dollars, so I'm screwed. Now he said he's giving. They're going to start giving checks as the gold goes up, because a lot of people are selling it to him because they think it's Christmas. Oh, it's 2,400. I'm going to go sell my gold. Yeah, but you sold it at 22. Then it went to 23, and you sold it. Now it's 24, and you sold it. At what point do you realize that you're doing the wrong thing? It's on the way up, not on the way down. Because you're used to paper gold, but it's gone. Paper gold ending, and we're going to physical gold. That's the next step. Again, you have to understand. Too much money printing, you lose the dollar. So you have to use logic and theory to realize if I keep printing this, it has no value. But nobody's going to tell you that because they don't want to. So it's the same thing here. The dollar goes out. We need a gold-backed currency. So if we have to go to Zimbabwe to sell this, or Russia to sell this, or some BRICS country, again, the bottom line is we're not going to want to get this. And if this is still around, then we're fine. We have the money. We don't have it in the banking system or in the stock market, and we take that money out. And I assume our debit and credit cards will still work. The guy was staying at a hotel, so it made no sense. If he's staying at a hotel, just eat at the hotel, and I don't, what are you doing? Or he's trying to sell gold. Well, okay, but why don't you get US dollars for it instead of Argentina dollars? Fucking idiot. And you can get it. I was in Germany. I could have got US dollars, but I needed euros. They really sucked it to you too. Deutsche Bank, I think it was $100, and it cost me like 130. And the exchange rate's 92 or 93, which I don't understand. How the euro is in better shape than the dollar. That's more bullshit. But anyway, so that's the goal: is when you do need to get off the lifeboat, then you want the currency that's sound, the gold backed currency. So be it a BRICS country, be it Zimbabwe, if we come out with gold backed currency, that's where what you want. You don't want to get this unless it's like now it's fine. It still has value, but you still don't want it. You're still getting out of this for the if come down the road, shit hitting the fan, it's worthless, which it's pretty close to, I believe. So that's my point. Right now, we still have dollars. We can still use it. Like I just paid my taxes. I use my credit card. Not a problem. It's going to be interesting because as the dollar goes out, how are you going to pay your credit cards, your mortgage, taxes when the money's worthless? Now, in Zimbabwe, they're going to transfer their money into the gold back system. You got 21 days to move your money in the bank, the old money that's hyperinflated, into the new money. And it sounds like it's even money, which makes no sense, but maybe they're doing a solid for their citizens where they're making it more, right? There's we'll let you have it in the beginning. So if you have 10,000 of the crap currency, you can change it into the gold backed currency. And then they're going to have to start paying them in gold backed currency because that's going to be the medium of exchange that everybody wants, the gold backed currency. So that's the key when you get off the lifeboat. Now, do you sell it on eBay? Do you go to the store, the coin store? See, that was the thing at Costco, you can't sell it. So they're really trying to scare people out of gold by saying, well, yeah, you can buy it, but you can't sell it. And if you do sell it, you're not going to get the price. And I'm like, why not? I can go get $6.75 for this coin today if I wanted to. Well, that was plus premium, so minus the premium. So I'll lose a few dollars, but I can get the bulk of the spot. So 2340 is 6. Yeah, it's about 600, 2400. So a little under 6. Only because I bought it at 24.25. Had it stayed there, then I would have been able to get 610 for it. I paid 670, let's say, which is fine. I mean, I could bring in the one I bought for 550 and get 600 for it. But again, that's not the intent. You're not trying to profit take this. You're trying to let it go. We know it's going to the moon. All this gold standard with BRICS, everybody there's huge demand. The price goes up. Now the U.S. can sit there and fight it, and we'll do derivatives. But at the end of the day, I don't know how many derivatives they can do. And when they do the derivatives, if somebody wants it, they have to have the gold to do it, which they don't have. Shut the fuck up. So that's really what it is. So when you go to sell your gold, if I go to the coin store, he's going to give me whatever the medium of exchange is. So if this goes away and there's a new dollar, he'll pay me in that. I mean, there's still going to be businesses. You're just going to change the medium of exchange. In Argentina, they're not smart enough to do that. Instead of switching the medium of exchange, they're staying with the old, and they're trying to fix the old, which you can't do. Zimbabwe gets it. Well, we've tried 4 times with not having our money backed by gold, so we're going to back it by gold. That's the new medium of exchange. So if I have gold in Zimbabwe, I go wherever to the bank or the coin store, and I get the gold backed currency at it's 23.45 an ounce for gold. So that's what I get, 23.45. So be careful of this misleading bullshit. And if you're buying it at Costco, be careful. You can go to the MyCoin store and sell it. I don't know about JD. Well, JD Bullion, SD Bullion, they do sell. or they buy and sell. And eBay, I know all the time eBay sells. I see all the auctions. So put an auction out on eBay. The problem is, what will you get paid back? But once we go to a new currency, that's what you'll get paid. So non-economists just are fucking clueless. They don't understand. They keep thinking a barter system. No, it's not going to be a barter system. If gold and silver are now our medium of exchange, then what are you going to barter? You go to the store, everything's priced in gold and silver, mostly silver, and you give them an ounce of silver and you buy your milk and bread. You're not going to carry 50 million or get a wheelbarrow and here you go. That's not going to happen. Because as the dollar goes out, you will need a new dollar. I mean, that's the way economics works. It's the medium of exchange. That's Adam Smith. That's the whole point of it. We use this to get paid and pay. There's a medium of exchange. It's something that we can get paid in and buy. And all it's going to do is switch. So this dollar goes out, and then like Zimbabwe, the dollar went out, and here comes a gold-backed dollar. But the point is, the government's not supposed to inflate this to zero. What the fuck are they doing? The point is, this is a medium of exchange. You're not supposed to touch it. It's supposed to be limited. You're not supposed to do it. That's rule number 2. It's got to be scarce. Medium of exchange, got to be portable. You put it in your pocket. 2, it's got to be scarce. You don't print to make it worthless. Now we need a new medium of exchange. What the fuck are you printing it for? 3, it's got to be divisible for small exchanges. So you need $1, you need a 5, you need a 20, whatever. 4, it's got to be fungible, the same, replaceable. So you print a lot of dollars, the gold. 5, the key's got to be acceptance. It's got to be accepted. So everybody goes, oh, gold. Yeah, I'll take that. It's got to be taken by us. And then when we spend it, it's got to be taken by the grocery store, the restaurant, the electric bill, whatever. And it's got to be durable. Nothing's more durable than gold. You cannot destroy it. It's indestructible. And so this is the problem. And the problem with Bitcoin is not money. It's just like this. It's just only good this is only good at Caesar's Palace. I go to the grocery store with this now. And that's how Bitcoin is. It's only good if you have somebody else with Bitcoin. So I can't send Bitcoin to Daria. Well, A, I don't have it. And B, she doesn't have it. That's the problem with Bitcoin. Both parties need to have it. Now, I can send her money through PayPal, of which all I need is to open up an account and attach a bank to it and say, okay, use my bank account to pull the money, send it to her. All she needs is an email address, and then she pulls the money, and she's got the money. So what's the difference between that and Bitcoin? Nothing. So why am I in Bitcoin? Oh, it goes up in value. Based on what? So again, if she doesn't have Bitcoin, she can't get it. I can't send it to her. So now she got to open a Bitcoin account. Okay, so I send her Bitcoin money. How does she get it? Again, I don't know how it works. I don't really want to learn, but that's the point. If somebody has it and I send you whatever, $100, how do you get the money? Do you attach your bank account to it and send it into the bank? And what if the bank won't take it? Now you got $100 of useless Bitcoin because you can't get it. So again, how do you get the money out? I don't know. And everybody wants to just hold it because it's going to go up in value. But if the dollar goes out and it's priced in dollars, it's worthless, which they don't see. Nobody wants to really face nobody has the economic skill of Austrians, of us, that says this is going to zero. So everything that is in dollars goes to zero. This is the biggest part that nobody seems to understand. Buy stocks now. Why am I buying stocks? Well, because the stocks will go up in value, right? The stocks will, they'll go up in value, but they're in dollars. And as we saw from, I think it was Egon yesterday saying, well, you don't really own anything. They're just leasing you the dollar, but you don't really own you don't really own the house. You don't really own the stocks. They're just giving you the opportunity to have it. But that's a big problem. So that's where we're at. So you're really in. You've got to understand. That's what I was talking. You got to understand the dollar's losing value. So everything priced in dollars is losing value. It's going out. So in a sense, when we get steaks for $15 at the grocery store, we're really buying steaks for like $5 because the value of our dollar has gone down so much that it's worth a lot less. So therefore, in a sense, the steaks are cheaper. We're buying steaks for nothing. Because we seem to think that the dollar that says 10 on it is really worth $10, but we don't understand that $10 doesn't buy anything anymore. So it's really worth about $1. I heard somebody say, what, like a $20 is worth a quarter now or something. Since 1981, he's saying, oh, the dollar is worth 25 cents. Well, no, it's worth 2 cents. It's not really worth anything. I mean, if you got to say the dollar's worth, it's lost 98% of its value, it's lost 100% of its value. It's still being used because most people aren't economists and don't realize it's worthless, but it is. So I'm not going to worry about buying the gold and getting into the lifeboat. It is the right thing to do. Now, getting out of the lifeboat, well, it depends what money's out there. And we'll use the gold for money. Did the guy try to use the gold at the grocery store this over? No. He talked to the people in line and nobody's got all this money to give him for gold and silver. And then he's worried about you'll get the price. You'll get the price. Between eBay and the coin stores, Switzerland, you'll get the price. If it says it's worth $5,000, you'll get $5,000. But he doesn't understand at the end of the day, gold will be the medium of exchange and it'll buy things. And if you have it, you go into the grocery store or you go to the restaurant or you go to the hotel and you use that and they'll take it. I don't know anybody. Now, the fact that these poor people aren't going to give them the full value of the gold does not mean you're barking up the wrong tree with that. All right. So anyway, we are correct in the lifeboat. And then when we go to sell it, we need to sell it at this point, I'm going to the coin store. If we need to go on eBay, we go on eBay. Anyway, we will figure that out at the time comes. I expect them to do what Zimbabwe does when the dollar goes out. They have a new dollar. They're not going to keep the dollar. And they're not going to say, well, you could only take $40 out a day out of the bank. So is my debit and credit card still worth? Then I'll fly the fuck out of here. I mean, I'm not going to stay here. Off to Russia. All right. So let's look at stocks over here. New York City. This is a fun one to watch.
Our government keeps spending. We're already $14.5 trillion.
7 years ago.
But you could say, so what? Look around. America's doing pretty well. What's the worst that can happen? Well, this could happen. These violent protests broke out once Greece was so deep in debt that Greece had trouble borrowing more money.
The interest rate for Greece is 23%.
Veronique Derougy is an economist with the Mercatus Center. She says street riots are just the most visible consequence of a debt crisis. Greece goes on. They still serving the baklava.
Yeah, I don't think Greece goes on. If you want to borrow money for a house, for a car, for anything, the interest rates that you face will be dramatically high.
Greece spent so much that by last year they owed more money than their entire economy produced. No wonder they're in trouble. We won't reach that level of debt until, pretty soon. We're on a clear track to a Greek-type crisis.
The government cannot escape their law of gravity. When there's no more money, there's just no more money.
Well, the federal government can escape. The federal government can print money.
The federal government can print money up to a certain point.
Government has been printing lots of money. Don't you wish you could do this? Of course, if we do it, they put us in jail. But governments are allowed to print money. Trouble is, when they do,
that leads to inflation.
Because the more dollars you print, the less each one is worth. That happened in Zimbabwe recently. It took 25 million local dollars to equal $1 American dollar. You had to carry armfuls of cash to go shopping.
You've saved money supposedly
Toilet
for
paper.
your old age to be able to enjoy life or to be able to leave money for your children. Well, that money is going to be worth almost nothing.
So printing all this extra money is bad. What are the other options? Well, the government can raise your taxes or cut its spending. Tough choices. Politicians are supposed to make these choices. So what did President Obama do? He appointed a commission.
I'm asking them to produce clear recommendations on how to cover the costs of all federal programs by 2015.
They recommended $1 trillion in tax increases and $3 trillion in spending cuts. But the president didn't take those recommendations. That bothered even the liberal media.
The total debt is $7.2 trillion on top of the $14 trillion we already have. How can you say that we're living within our means?
I'm not suggesting that we don't have to do more.
In your fiscal commission, you had a majority consensus to do all this. It's now been shelved.
The notion that it's been shelved, I think, is incorrect.
What was the point of the fiscal commission?
It still provides a framework for a conversation.
Then,
Our debt as a share of the economy is already too high. But look at where it's going.
a Republican budget chairman actually came out with a serious plan, whereupon the president responded with his own plan.
Today, I'm proposing a more balanced approach.
I don't blame the vice president for falling asleep during his boss's speech. It was more of the same. Obama said he'd eliminate waste and lower the cost of health care, but he proposed no specific cuts. And he said he'd raise taxes on the rich.
Millionaires and billionaires. That's who needs to pay less taxes?
Maybe not, but even if the president took every penny that millionaires and billionaires make, it still wouldn't be enough to cover the deficit.
The gap between revenue and spending is so big that no level of revenue could cover that gap.
The problem is spending. It's been increasing so fast, revenue can't keep up. Hence the talk about cuts.
We've taken a scalpel to the discretionary budget rather than a machete.
A scalpel? But a little scalpel won't make cuts big enough to keep us from falling into bankruptcy. We need something like this. We need to make bigger cuts or people will stop lending us money and we'll be as broke as Greece. But I understand why politicians are reluctant to make big cuts. Chicken! Look what happens when they try. About 20 years ago, the Democratic chair of the Ways and Means Committee was hounded by seniors for asking them to make small Medicare copays. They chased him and surrounded his car. The chairman fled to a gas station where he found his driver and made his getaway. His Medicare reform was quickly repealed, and for the next 25 years, most politicians ducked the issue until Congressman Ryan's proposal.
Doing it this way actually makes Medicare solvent.
Congressman Ryan's been booed too in his own district. Democrats say his Medicare plan is why this woman won a special congressional election recently, because she promised that she would
not decimate Medicare.
After she won, her supporters chanted.
Yes, we are all future seniors, that's for sure.
The message politicians get is don't touch our handouts, especially Medicare. In fact, don't cut anything. Give us more stuff. Roads, bridges.
Transportation funding.
We're all citizen lobbyists.
Citizen lobbyists descend on Washington to try to get more.
More money for transit.
Funding for housing.
All right, well, we got the idea on his earlier one. The more you print, the less there were. So that's what happens is the MMTs print. All right, so let's look at Egon from yesterday. We won't watch Mark McGuire.
Let's say a physical audit that raises a lot of questions because of the lack of it. But there's also, let's say, a counterparty audit or a loan audit that should also be done. Just to clarify that picture, because of the amount of gold that has been possibly loaned out over the years.
Central banks count gold lent to bullion banks as their own physical gold. They count that, that's part of their assets. They call that gold. They don't say that we have a major risk here. We only have a piece of paper from a bullion bank, which in my view will go under because they can't meet their commitments. But central bank counts all of those IOUs from bullion bank as physical gold. And when they show that hand one day, which they will never do, but the world will see that they won't be able to deliver, of course, in the end. I don't think that is 8,000 theoretical is not going to help the US in any way, in my view.
If that wealth ends up getting destroyed, I don't understand how that value gets put into gold, because you articulated well that there aren't going to be many other options at that.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, those values will be destroyed because, if you take private equity, for example, if there's no buyer for those companies, which means that they will not get any financing either, these highly leveraged companies, so they will fail, these companies. So the people who are invested in private equity will not have the money to put into gold. That's what you're saying. But remember one thing, Tom, there is only 0.5% of world financial assets in gold today. That's your answer. So even if a lot of assets, it's 0.5% of a bubble, so that bubble will come down dramatically, because world financial assets will decline by 50, 75, 80%, whatever. You don't need a lot more buying in gold for gold to go up because there's so little gold around. Mm-hmm. So that, therefore, no, there's not going to be several hundred trillion of financial asset that we have today in stocks, bonds, property, etc. That's going to go into gold, of course not. But it's going to be a fraction of that. It's such a small market that's going to drive the price up anyway. And of course, then at some point, gold will be, as I said, at a totally different price.
One piece we haven't really touched on yet is the idea of inflation. So let's just focus on the war spending that the U.S. is very likely going to be putting out on the horizon here. Does that equal deficit growth and therefore an increase in inflation again as well?
Yes, it's quite amazing how countries all around the West, the US, the Western Europe, they're all just signing checks for Ukraine of hundreds of billions of dollars, euros, or whatever, without obviously asking the people if they want to spend that much of their own money will lead to much higher taxes and more misery for the people. And no one is asked, do we want to send hundreds of billions to Ukraine to kill 500,000 or 1 million people or whatever? Is that what you want, my people? Nobody's going to say yes to that. Nobody's going to say yes to sending their sons or their daughters to a war where they are likely to be killed, or a high percentage likely to be killed. But this is again where leaders sitting in cozy offices or underground or whatever just take these decisions without actually understanding the consequences for the people. Debt financing at its worst, clearly very inflationary, because again, you're printing money that you haven't got and will never repay, and they'll be inflationary. And as I said, in the end, there won't be enough money around, interest rates will go up, and the countries will default at some point, although they will never admit it because they just print more. But then you get into the hyperinflationary scenario, which is very possible too.
How do you see the Fed kind of playing out or being able to work both sides of this equation? Do you see lower rates coming in to save the day when they have to refinance this debt that is coming due this year?
Two people pulling the cow from both ends, because whatever you do, then somebody sitting at the bottom like this, the lawyers milking it. Whatever you do, you'll fail. Of course, on the one hand, the US government and the Fed cannot afford high interest rates, right? Must have them low, because with the debt you're talking about and growing exponentially, they need low rates. Interest cycle has lasted since, it came down since 1980, basically. The interest rates are now up. They obviously, if you look at supply and demand, they should be going up. And you look at inflation, and my view is, and has always been, the Fed will lose control of interest rates because they would like, everybody talks about low rates, but they can't afford to low rate, because also, then that you will have the dollar collapse, and you will have that anyway. The market, in my view, whatever the Fed wants, will drive the rates up, starting with the long end. The financing demand that the US government has in coming years, as you mentioned, the deficits will escalate dramatically, in my view, will mean that the rates have to be very high to get anyone to buy this debt. I think anyone who buys this anyway, treasuries, number one, that the currency will be worthless, and in my view, is also guaranteed that the government will never repay it. They will try all kinds of games because they won't have enough investments, except for the Fed buying very inflationary. They will now play games like they will force people to put retirement savings, to put off of the bank account, cash, etc., into US treasuries, probably at a very low rate, and then maybe with a balloon in 30 years' time, 2% now and 10% in 30 years or whatever of worse money from a bankrupt government. That's, I think, what will happen. So people now who have assets in the bank, they run the risk of, as I said, having that money not confiscated, because the government will never say confiscated, but they will force them to put into things that means that the money is blocked for a long time. And obviously that's bad for the economy also, because nobody can spend that money, etc. But I think that's a high risk of that happening. They will try to do that in combination.
So that's what they're doing in Argentina. You can only get 40, you could have 20 grand in the bank, but you can only get $40 a day with your money. So the money's probably somewhere else. Again, you just come out with a new currency. Probably you need gold back. You need it backed by something. You can't just go to a new currency and print it to death, because that's what they did in Zimbabwe. That's what they did in Russia. That's what they do in most places. Russian ruble is so expensive because they're on like the 6th ruble, because they keep bringing out a new ruble, but they don't back it by gold. So that's why they got all this gold. So now they can finally go on a gold-backed currency, and then they won't have the problem.
The printing also will mean that, the whole banking sector, nobody will want to, people will try to do anything they can to get their money out of the bank. If governments freeze their money in the bank, that in itself will create a revolution. Either way, it's going to lead to massive problems.
As you said earlier, you're not necessarily just a gold bug. Does this lead you to look at other assets besides gold, like Bitcoin, as store of value through this tumultuous time?
Let me explain that I'm not.
Hey, Greg, good job.
And we are not in our company. To me, Bitcoin,
I was wondering if my thing was working. I didn't have any comments or anybody watching.
Years ago. So to me, Bitcoin is.
I'm going to do baseball soon.
Well, it's a digital money, obviously, dependent on electricity, and governments
just a second
banning it. If governments really issue major amounts of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, I don't think they want Bitcoin to compete with that. And I think at some point they might easily ban Bitcoin. So therefore, I've said many times, Bitcoin might go to $1 million or it might go to zero. That's the binary risk that I see. For me, that is not a good investment. I stay out of Bitcoin. I'm not saying that it can't go to $1 million, but at the same time, I'm saying you could lose all your money at some point. Bitcoin short term now, everybody is going into BlackRock, etc. That in itself is a bad sign, in my view, not a good sign. When BlackRock goes, there's something wrong here. It could go up short term, not unlikely at all. But at some point, I think something will happen which will make it so risky that people regret that they held it. I might be wrong. I don't care.
What's new? I did my taxes today. Well, my taxes were done. I paid my taxes today. They charge you 2.5% for using the credit card. I love that. What do you mean you're charging me 2.5%? Amazing. Anyway, so that's done. I'm about to do baseball in a minute. I had a pretty good day yesterday on baseball. I lost Boston under 2 days ago, and then won them under yesterday, under 8. It was 7-0. So the strategy still works. Not much else. Gold went down, but it's down because of the government doing derivatives, not because people selling it, and not because no demand. So that was it. And demand is really high for gold, as Costco is saying, who are selling all this. That's about it. I bought another 1/4 ounce yesterday and 7 ounces of silver. This is a maple leaf 1/4 ounce. This gets added to the family, and Daria and Jenna are fine. I didn't hear from Jenna today yet, but I will. Daria's at work, but she just texted me saying, I'm at work. I think I finally got it through to Daria to, look, I need to hear from you because I'm in America and you're in Russia. And I think she's finally figured it out. Like, okay, I'll send you a hello, I'm okay, stuff like that. No, very good. I'm on my last day of my one meal a day. So I basically do 24 hours and then I eat at like 5 o'clock. The whole week I've been since Sunday, so Sunday, Monday, all the way. Today's the 7th day. I look a lot better. I feel fine. My feet, my knees, everything's healthy finally. And that's what I'm doing. So I've got that. I'll go back to 2 meals starting tomorrow. But what's good is I've gotten off of that eating after dinner, a little nibble here and there, pita bread or something. And I've gotten off of the sweets, which is what I wanted to do. I've been, you start eating a donut, ice cream, and a cupcake, and then, yeah, I can have one. I'm healthy. You eat one, but then, it's supposed to be once a week. Okay, Sunday, you're watching football, have something. But the problem is then it became Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're eating that. So not really good. And that's what I wanted to get away from. So I won't have sweets. Probably the sweetest thing I have is the dark chocolate, which is 85, and my salad dressings, which I eat a lot of salad and use them for chicken or steak. I'll dip it in the French dressing, so as opposed to ketchup, which is high fructose corn syrup. So I do stay away from that, but just wanted to break that. Oh, let's go to Speedway and get one of those ice creams, or at Meijer's, let's go get a donut or some shit like that. Again, you feel good. So you start doing that, and it's like when you're working, you spend more, but then you lose your job, you got to cut the spending. So that's what ends up happening. So anyway, I got off of that sweet train, and I'm off. I got the dark chocolate like Wednesday, and I haven't had a piece yet. I won't till tomorrow. But the only real big thing is like an omelet with veggies for lunch, I'm not having, or tuna on a pita for lunch. So that's what I'm missing. So I cooked 6 little leg thigh quarters, and I had 2 a day, and that was it. And then I had a salad with it, and a little bit of popcorn, a little bit. Yesterday I made veggies. I cooked veggies. I actually had an omelet and the chicken. But it was early and it was fine to eat that. And that's what I'm switching. But I wanted to break the sweet problem. So I broke it, and that's why you do anything for a week, you restart your habits. And now my habit is, theoretically, I was going to try to not eat like at night, like don't eat tonight and just go till tomorrow, and it would be a day and a half. But I'm like, right now, I'm pretty hungry. Now, in a normal day, I'd be eating in front of you guys, and you'd be going, what the fuck's he eating for? But like nothing. I had a coffee and I had a water with lemon and cinnamon and stuff. That's my breakfast. And I'm going to go to the pool after this. And then I'm going to go to barbecue and eat barbecue chicken around 4-ish. I mean, my plan is to do 4:30. Chinese is closed till tomorrow, but then she's not open. So really it's closed till Monday. She's bitching about costs, and then she takes 2 weeks off. Okay. So anyway, that's what's going on. Filed my taxes today and paid for it, like I said. And that's about it. I'm waiting for a job. I hate when these guys call you up and I'm going to apply you, and then you're waiting, and then I don't even know if these jobs are real, and then you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and they never call you back. I'll call you back if you get the job, but if you don't get it, I'm going to call. So I don't even believe that's real when they call me and do that. one guy wanted me to fill out an application, and I'm like, yeah, when we're at that point, I'll fill it out. Right now, it's a waste of time. Anyway, let's finish up with Egon here.
I stick to gold. I understand gold because, you look at Bitcoin and the volatility going up from nothing and going up to 65,000 or whatever, then going down to 15,000 and up to 30, 40, 50 again. Bitcoin can, of course, never be an alternative to money because of its volatility. Gold is much more stable than that. So therefore, it is an investment. It could be a fantastic speculative investment. We are more interested in wealth preservation. And from where I sit, I don't see this as a wealth preservation investment. So therefore, we're staying out of it. For people who want to speculate, I'm sure, yes, and I'm sure they could make money if they're good at it and good at taking profit, but it's not for us. I don't, as I said, and I think the risk is very high that governments at some point will say, no, we will control the money, not the investors. And still today, you can't really spend Bitcoin in a normal way as you spend money. So, and I don't see that happening either, because that central bank will definitely say, we're not going to have a competitive money system here with our currencies. So that's my view on Bitcoin. But in the meantime, I wish good luck to anybody who invests in it and possible to make money, I'm sure.
And how?
So if you notice what he said people that know how to do it and know how to take profit. And that's the problem. People are in it. They don't take profit. They just stay in it thinking the price is just going to keep going up and up and up, but they don't realize it's a Ponzi scheme. And like he said, if it's in it, I don't think I want to play ball with BlackRock. So the key about Bitcoin, see, if we look at Zimbabwe, the central bank is in charge of the gold-backed currency, right? The Zimbabwe central bank. You can't play ball without the central bank. And that's the point. So that's why gold's fine. You have a gold-backed currency, Zimbabwe, the BRICS, they'll have a central bank controlling the BRICS gold-backed currency and won't allow it to be printed more than the gold they have. And they'll come out with a higher gold price. They'll just revalue it. But see, when you're trying to do Bitcoin, you're trying to get away from the system. But you can't get away from the system because the system is controlling it. The central bank controls the money. So Bitcoin can never be, excuse me, Bitcoin can never be money because they're not going to allow competition. They want to be the monopoly. Now they can have the medium exchange can be gold back and the central bank can run that. And that's why it works. So that's why the gold standard will work. Problem in America, we don't have gold, so we can't do a gold standard. And be careful if they ever say we're doing a gold standard and they don't show us the gold, then I would be very careful that they have the gold, and I would go to the bank and say, I want to change this for gold, which is the whole point of it. It should be backed by gold. You should be able to get it. Now, maybe they'll have to go to the central bank or JP Morgan for the gold, but they should have gold. So if you go with the $100 bill and say, I want my gold for this, and they say we don't have it or we can't get it, then it's bullshit, which I think it'll be anyway. All right. So anyway, Bitcoin to me is like a penny stock. It has no value because it's not backed by anything. So it's just the value among the people. That's like if me and Greg and John and Bobby and Luke said, okay, we'll come out with the Teaserking dollar and it's worth $50,000. Well, not in the real world, but in our world, that's what it's worth. And that's really the point of it. That's what Bitcoin is, because they think it has a value because they're the ones valuing it. Like he said, you have to know to profit take. If you're playing poker or blackjack at the casino and you're winning, at some point you got to take the money, take the profit. So you're playing blackjack, you're up $5,000. You're not going to take the profit. You're going to lose it all back. And then you'll be in big trouble because you were up $5,000 and you lost it. Nothing's worse than being up $5,000 and losing the whole $5,000 back. Because then you go, shit, I was up $5,000. What did I do? Now I walk away with nothing. I had $5,000. And that's the big thing. All right, let's wrap up.
Owning a gold ETF, this is much easier than trying to store physical gold. But you brought up the idea of counterparty risk earlier, as well as just the actual ownership of something physical. So how do you see the risk of holding a gold ETF?
Holding a gold ETF is holding a form of paper, a claim on maybe physical gold. And if we investigate that, some of these ETFs like GLD, etc., probably don't have the gold, or is hypothecated many times and used many times, etc. Very high risk of that. And it's in the system. It's in the banking system. It's in the financial system. It's a paper.
Get
asset.
off the
You don't
Titanic.
have physical gold. You just have a piece of paper. So that is not the way we look at wealth preservation. That's a speculative investment. If you're lucky, you get your money back. If you're unlucky, there wasn't enough gold there to meet the commitment to you, gold or the money you put in. So for us, that has nothing to do with wealth preservation. If you want to preserve wealth, you hold gold in physical form outside the banking system in a jurisdiction that is as safe as it can be. Nothing is safe, of course. It's all relative in the world. There's no safe place in the world, totally safe. But at least you should eliminate as many counterparties as possible and counterparty risk. And therefore, don't put your wealth preservation money in the financial system. You don't put it in the bankrupt banking system. And there are the people who hold this gold as JP Morgan and HSBC, with GLD, for example. And like all banks, they're highly leveraged. JP Morgan has got one of the biggest derivative positions in the world. And so that's not the place to hold your
Get
wealth
off the
preservation
Titanic,
asset
right?
in a paper form, period. And, you can buy and sell physical gold very easily at a, relatively low cost. Sure, it might not be, well, if you hold an ETF like GLD, that all-in charge is about 40 basis points. Bigger investors doing it outside the banking system is not higher than that. Why then would you go to paper gold? Uninsured also, of course. Banks never insure it either. In our view, that's totally the wrong way of preserving wealth. ETFs are just another convenient form of dealing in paper money. There's only people who are not accountable and for what they invest. These are typical funds that buy these things because it's easy. They don't give a damn. They get their salary because they're investment.
Ponzi
They get their
schemes,
salary whether they're a
Madoff.
founder or not the ETF. So, we like people who have skin in the game who actually understand that this is a risk that I wouldn't take, so therefore I shouldn't let my customers take it either. That's how we look at the investments.
Excellent take on, for those that want more of your writing.
So he made a comment. It's easy to buy and easy to sell gold. So I questioned the guy going to Argentina, struggling to sell it and get the value. Well, who the hell is he selling it to? He says, we couldn't find a gold store. What the hell do you... Why would you sell it in Argentina? You'd sell it in I'd go to my guy and sell it here and then take it to Argentina. Skin in the game, professor, skin in the game. I don't do anything. I don't tell you anything I don't do. If I give you football bets, I'm betting them. If I give you I'm in gold and silver, I'm in gold and silver. I go to the store every week or two and a little bit more limited with my money. So I buy 1/10 of an ounces or 1/4 of an ounce, but that's fine. That's, that's what I'm doing. So that's Egon. Thought it was a good one. I didn't like Mark McGuire. I would not recommend Mark McGuire. Now let's get to baseball. Well, the Yankees are already going with Cleveland. So there's a few 110 games. So let's talk about them. It's 12:39 and the Yankees Cleveland already started. All right. So let's look at baseball. Now, again, we're looking for variables that make sense to bet. Why bet the game? So that's always the question. Why do you buy gold? Because you're getting out of the dollar, right? Why are you betting on baseball? What are the reasons you would pick a game? And we've got it down to basically pitching. A good pitcher like a Verlander, you're not going to hit, and it's probably going to be low scoring. If he plays another Scherzer, if he plays another ace, we're going to go under. We're just going to say there's not going to be a lot of runs. That's what we did with Boston Baltimore the other day. However, if he's playing a weak pitcher who gives up a lot of runs, we're going to play Verlander. And if it's 2 weak pitchers going, then we're going to play the over because there should be a lot of runs because these pitchers give up 4 or 5 runs a game on ERA. So that's the beginning. And then we have to refine. The problem is they only pitch 5 or 6 innings. What do we do the final 3? And that's when we got to look at the bullpen and understand, they got an ace in the bullpen. The Tigers have some guy who's a good 9th inning guy if you can get to him. He's got like a 0 ERA. So if they have a good pitcher, you're probably not going to hit him. Like yesterday, Skubal pitched, and I think they scored 1 or 2 runs, Minnesota. And anyway, I had the Tigers yesterday. Again, I'm not betting this yet. I'm just getting there. Okay, so 110. 110, we've got Minnesota, Detroit. Minnesota's favored. We got Joe Ryan, 0-1 with a 3.18 against Kenta Maeda, 0-1 with a 9.00 ERA. This guy's terrible. So you can't bet Detroit here. So it's either do I bet Minnesota or do I bet the over? And the over-under is 8. And the Tigers scored 8 runs. So let's go with today's 413. And we're going to let's go over Detroit, over 8. Because it's 8, Minnesota should score some runs against this guy, although I don't know how good their team is hitting-wise. And then Detroit should score on this Joe Ryan, who's 0-1. So basically the reasons Minnesota's favored, this menu's so bad. So you figure he's only going to pitch 3 innings, and then it's bullpen time. And so they'll score 4 or 5 runs. So it's, do I take Minnesota or do I go over? I'm going to go over, but I think you could go Minnesota also. Then at 140, we got KC against the METS, Mets. The Mets are a 165 favorite, 8.5. Alec Marshall, 1-0 with a 3.09 against Sean Mania for the Mets, 1-0 with a .82. The KC's been on a roll. They won 7 in a row, and I think they lost yesterday. So Mets are a huge favorite with this pitcher, 1-0 with a .82. And I know he's not a bullpen guy. Over under 8.5. But the KC's pitcher's not bad. 1-0 with a 3.09. Let's go under in this game. Let's go the METS's, New York Mets, under and 8.5. So the decision is, I got this pitcher with a .82 ERA. I don't think KC's going to score a lot, but KC's pitcher is 1-0 with a 3.09. So it should be a pretty good pitcher's duel, at least till the 6th inning or so. Then the bullpens take over, which we got to see. So I don't want to go take the Mets at -165 against this Alec Marsh with the 3.09 ERA. And how good are the Mets? So I think it's a high number for the Mets. So I like I like this game under, because you figure Sean Mannion, they'll get 1 run, but then how many is Kansas City going to, is the Mets going to get off this Kansas City pitcher? So I think this should be a low scoring game. I mean, and that's what you do. You just analyze what's going on. The problem is trusting. We talk a lot about trust here. Is the ERAs. Is Alec March a 3.09 pitcher? Is Sean Mannion a .82 pitcher? That's really what the question is. And we're not, they played 14 games. So he's pitched, maybe 3 times. So after today, it's either going to be 3 or 4. And that's really what we're looking at, is what, can we trust the numbers we're seeing? Can we trust the bullpen? Can we trust the batting average? Can we trust KC's 9-5 is really 9-5? So it's all trust, and we don't trust it yet. Like I say in the NFL, we got to wait 4 games to trust it. There's no way we can trust it because they don't have preseason anymore, and there's a bye before it. So week 1, we learn nothing. Week 2, we start learning it. You get a lot of injuries because none of the players have played, and none of them are ready to play a full game. All these injuries happen. Then here comes week 2, and then you start getting the timing down with quarterback and the receivers, especially with all these new quarterbacks. Bo Nix, he's not going to have his timing down with what if he's on Oakland or whatever. And Penix, if he's on Seattle, he's got to get used to Metcalf and my guy from Kansas State, Lockett, and that's it. So you have to figure out, you got to give them time to get the timing down. So that's why week 1 and week 2 in the NFL, you stick with Mahomes, you stick with Burrow, Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, if he made it, Josh Allen. That's who you bet on, and you bet against all these. Well, you don't bet against the rookies. You don't know what you got. You can bet against Steve Young. You can bet against Indy. You can bet against CJ Stroud. You can bet, you can bet against the guys from last year and the second-rate guys, Minnesota. If they got a rookie or they got a Mullins, I mean, you're going to bet. Atlanta, you're not going to bet on Kirk Cousins. He stinks. So you're really getting, okay, we can go to Stafford, but Aaron Donald's gone, and we can go to Frisco and Philly. We're not sure. Hurts looked like shit the last 8 weeks. They were 1-7, so I'm not going to start betting Philadelphia. I don't know what happened there. All the coaches left. That's a bad sign that the head coach has got his head up his ass. All right. Cincinnati. So we're going under in the METS, Mets game, or JETS, Jets. Cincinnati and Chicago. Chicago is 2-11. So can we trust that they're that bad? Cincinnati is a 130 favorite. The game's in Chicago, over under of 8. Nick Lodolo, 0-0 with an 0.00 ERA. Probably hasn't pitched. Against Garrett Crockett, 1-1 with a 2.0 ERA. So the Crockett guy, we go, okay, he's pitched 2 games at least, and he's got a 2.0 ERA. Nick Lodolo is 0-0. Let's see if he's probably making his first start, or he's a bullpen guy. Yeah, he hasn't pitched this year. And he's very rarely pitched, and his ERA is 3.66 in 2022, and last year he only pitched in 7 games with a 6.29. So this guy's a pig. This Nick Lodolo. So I'll tell you, let's see, Crockett, 1-1 with a 2.0 ERA, assuming he's a starter. Last 10 games. Yeah, he's started 3 games, 6 innings, gave up 1 run, 7 innings, gave up 1 run, and 8 innings, gave up 2. With a very low ERA. So I like this guy. This guy's Crockett. So I'll tell you, here you go. I like Chicago. They're the dog in the game. They've clearly got the better pitcher. Crockett's much better than Lodolo. And they're getting point. Now, maybe it's because of their offense, but a good pitcher. And he's only given up 1 run in 2 games, all right, 6 innings. This guy's got a 2 ERA. This should be a good pick here. So we're going with the White Sox. That's your first real play. Not a lock. Now, let's say Chicago doesn't have a good offense. It doesn't matter. Cincinnati's not going to hit this guy. Now, I don't know how bad the White Sox bullpen is. I'm not taking that much in depth yet. I will as we get going. Because, again, I got to trust that the bullpen. And I don't really – this is the problem with baseball. It's every day. So I really got to learn – I can see the starter. I got to learn the bullpen. And the hitting, Atlanta's got a real powerful bats. Baltimore, I think Boston, they can hit. So you're looking for the weak hitting team against a good pitcher. They're going to get shut out. So let's go with the White Sox. That's at 210. It's 10-1. What is going on here? Every game's like an hour later. So it was 1 o'clock, 1:40, 2:10. This is 3:07, 4:05. There's a couple of games at 4:05. All right, 3:07. Colorado, Toronto. Why would Toronto have a 3 o'clock start? What the hell is that all about? Toronto's a huge favorite at 190. Colorado's 4-10. Toronto's 6-8. Dakota Hudson, 0-2 with a 2.38 for Colorado. Uriel Rodriguez, 0-0 with an 0. Again, we always think these guys are making their first start. Yeah, he hasn't pitched yet this year. Actually, let's see. So you can go back. No, he's never pitched, so I'm not running on this guy. Dakota Hudson, 0-2 with a 2.38. He's pitched 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, 6 innings, gave up 3 runs. So Toronto should hit him. ERA, that doesn't make sense. He gives up 3 runs. Oh, none of them are earned. Okay. So he gives up 3 unearned runs the first game and then 3 runs that were earned the second game. So this is the third game. He has pitched a while, this guy, since 2018. And his ERA is pretty good, 3.81. He had a few years where it was 4 in the 4s and a few years in the 2s. Well, 2021 doesn't count. 2020. So let's look at this year. Yeah, 3.3. So he's a decent pitcher. This Dakota guy. Rodriguez, it's his first start. So what do you make out of it? You have no information, you have no data, and you can't trust it. So we'll let that go. I think Toronto minus 190. I think this is probably an over. I think Toronto should hit this Dakota guy. I think Toronto's a pretty good hitting team. Colorado, we know, can hit. And again, but it's his first time. So it's too much unknown. We're going to pass. It's like Caleb's first game. You can't bet it. You don't know what you got. But if they lose, he's going to cry. Milwaukee and Baltimore. Here you go. Milwaukee 9-3. And Baltimore 8-5. Pretty good game. Baltimore's a 150 favorite, 8.5. DL Hall, 0-1 with a 4.82 for Milwaukee. Dean Kramer, 0-0 with a 2.19. I don't know. Baltimore 150. Let's see this Dean Kramer at 2.19. Well, he beat KC. No, KC's 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, went 7 innings against Pittsburgh and shut him out. 5-hitter. Oh, no, he gave up 1 run, but it was unearned. So he goes 5 innings, he goes 7 innings. So this guy's pretty good. Dean Kramer. Dean Martin. They can hit. I don't know. Not a lot of runs. 8.5. Maybe over, but I'm going to pass on this one. The Battle of Texas. The Cowboys and the Oilers. We got Houston minus 145 and 9.5. Houston struggling. They're 4-11. Where is the Verlander injured? Because I don't see him. I haven't seen him all the time. Andrew Haney 0-2 with the 7.56 against Ronell Blackwell. 2-0 with an 0.00. I think this is an easy one. Go Houston. Go Houston. Beat Navy. You got the better pitcher. You got 2-0 with an 0 against 0-2 with a 7.56. They both can hit. But if I had both of them 0-2 with 7.5, I'd be going over. But here's where you take the good pitcher against the weak pitcher, and you bet the good pitcher. So we're going to go with Houston. Pitt and Philly. This one's for you, Luke. We got Pitt 10-4, Philly 7-7. Philly's a 150 favorite. Marco Gonzalez for Pitt, 0-0 with a 2.45. Spencer Turnbull used to be on the Tigers, 1-0 with an 0.00. I got to go under here. Pitt under 8.5. So what you have is 2 good pitchers. Philly Turnbull is very good, but Gonzalez 0-0 with a 2.45. So we're going to go under. So we'll make that a play. Pitt under. So we got 3 plays: the White Sox, Houston, and now Pitt under. The Redskins went from the Niners to the Raiders now. They're playing at Oakland. Washington's a big favorite, 145, 8.5. Mackenzie Gore, 1-0 with a 4.09 against Joe Boyle, 1-1 with an 8.2. Okay, this is an easy one. We take Washington over 8.5. Very small play. But you can see here, we got a 409 pitcher and an 822 pitcher. Now, what's hard to analyze is they only pitch 4 or 5 innings, maybe 3, and the bullpen comes in. And how good are the bullpen guys? And that's the problem. So you think Joe Boyle is going to, 8.22 ERA. Well, we know he's not going to give up 8 runs. Probably not. But he probably gives up 3-4 runs. And then Washington, probably the guy's got a 409, probably gives up 3-4 runs. So you're at 8. And then how good's the bullpen? Are they going to give up 3-4 runs or shut them out for 5 innings? And that's the craziness with this year, with the new baseball is up after 100 pitches, you're done. And there's 18 bullpen guys. And so it's not hard to throw 1 inning and shut them out. That's the problem. So it's very difficult, although then you get your dogs like Pittsburgh against Detroit that day when the guy let up 4 runs in the 9th. You would think after 2 hits, you'd be pulling the guy and going to the next pitcher and sending the other guy down to the minor leagues. Because if you can't pitch 1 inning of shutout, you don't belong in the majors. All right, California against Boston. I don't have pitchers, so I can't make the pick. That's at 410. Atlanta and Miami. Chris Sale for Atlanta. God, he's all over the place. Chicago, Boston, and now Atlanta. 1-0 with the 3.38 against Max Meyer for Miami. 1-0 with the 2.45. Atlanta's a huge favorite, 210. I'm going under 8.5 in this game. So this is Atlanta under 8.5. They're very, very, maybe $5 on it. Chris Sale, we know he can pitch. Max Meyer, we don't, but he's 1-0 at the 2.45. Again, it's too early to really get all the notes on it, right? Is this guy really 1-0 at the 2.45, Max Meyer? Maybe he is. Maybe he's Justin Verlander, but we don't know that. There's not enough data to really say that. We know about Chris Sale. He's a great pitcher, but he hurt his arm. 1-0 with a 3.8. So I'm expecting a low-scoring game here. By the way, Miami's 2-12. So that could be why Atlanta's a big 210 favorite. Let's take a look at Max Meyer. We don't need to look at Chris Sale. We know what he is. Well, Max is pitched 5 innings, gave up 2 runs to California. Against St. Louis, he pitched 6 innings and gave up 1 run to St. Louis. They won 10-3. So this is his 3rd start. So we don't have too much information, but it looks like he goes about 6 innings and gave up 1 run to St. Louis, which is very impressive. And that's it. He played in 2022, didn't play last year, or was in minor leagues. Terrible ERA in 2022. 7.50. So we will see if he's gotten any better or not. That's why we bet 35 cents on it. But, could be an under game, 8.5. Although we know Atlanta can hit the fuck out of the ball. So, yeah, it's a hard one. And then with Chris Sale, he could shut out Miami. They're 2-12, and then you get over 8.5. So I think with both these pitchers, I think on under looks like a good play. San Francisco against Tampa, Montana against Brady. We got the Niners 5-9, Tampa Bay 8-6. The Niners are a 110 favorite, which means it's even. 7.5 over under. So I guess we're looking at good pitchers. No, we're not. Logan Webb 0-1 with a 4.86 against Ryan Peppo 1-1 with a 4.63. This is an easy over. So the SF over only 7.5. Now, why would I go over? Because it's only 7.5. You get a 7.5, you can go over with 2 pitchers that are 4.86 and 4.63. That's ridiculous. Both teams seem pretty decent. So yeah, definitely like the over in this game. 7.5. Verlander, Scherzer 7.5. Not here. This is definitely not. This is definitely an over game. But then because it's 7.5, this is like one of those Georgia under games, and they're 52. And you're going, well, let's see. Georgia's going to shut them out. How the hell are we going to get score in the game? Minnesota, Detroit. Oh, we're playing a doubleheader. Oh, yeah, that's right. I think it got rained out the other day. Detroit's in 135. So this is game 2. So this will write as game 1. So game 1's over 8. Game 2, we got Simon Woods Richardson. Too many names. Just call him Simon Richardson. 0-0 with an O against Matt Manning. 0-0 with an O. No idea. Never heard of Richardson. He's probably his first start because it's the doubleheader. Manning, I think he had one start, couple innings. Don't know much about either of them. Manning was a high draft pick, but he sucks, so really hard to say. Now, game 2 of a doubleheader, what happens? So you switch your players, right? But see, the way baseball is now, how many guys you got on the bench that are actually players, not pitchers? So how are you going to like switch your shortstop and your third baseman and your outfield and your catcher? You know, I know you have 2 catchers, but what do you have? 1 extra infielder and 1 extra outfielder, maybe 2. So it's really not as big of a deal. The big deal will come if how you play the first game. If you go to your ace in the bullpen in game 1, are you going to go to is he going to pitch game 2? I would, because he's already got his arm warmed up, pitched an inning. You're pitching another inning because you've already pitched, you know, and so your body has, you know, the extra. I would definitely pitch them both, but these guys won't. So if you lose your ace in the first game, then you got to find somebody else in game 2. And that's the problem. So I'm going to pass on game 2. I don't know these pitchers. And Detroit can't hit. Minnesota, I don't know. The Yankees in Cleveland. This is game 2. Game 1's going on now. We got the Yankees up 1-0 in the 4th. This is game 2. All these Saturday doubleheaders. See, this one, they're making everybody leave. So they got a 12 o'clock start. The game will be over at 3. And then you got to leave and then get tickets for the second game. What a bunch of bullshit. Why aren't they just going right after? Minnesota, Detroit 110. And Minnesota, Detroit is 540. So again, they're making you leave and come back in. It's just fucking ridiculous. Bad business, baseball. All right. New York 10-3, Cleveland 9-3 before the first game. Cody Poteet for the Yankees 0-0 with an 0-0. Tristan McKenzie 1-0, 1-1 with a 4. Yankees are even and 8.5, and I'm gonna let it go because again, these doubleheaders, you don't know what happens in the first game to then play the second game. I mean, by pitching, who comes in and pitches, right? If your ace is out of the bullpen, then probably being over in the second game. St. Louis, Arizona, St. Louis 115. Kyle Gibson 1-1 with a 6.23. Ryan Nelson 0-2 with an 8.22. This over though is 10. So the other over with the 2 bad pitchers was only 7.5. Here it's a 10. Gibson against Nelson. A 6.23 against an 8.22. So very small Arizona over, and it's 10. So the 10 makes it very less appealing to make a bet than if it was 8. But both pitchers suck, so it probably will go over. So we'll make a small at 10. Again, these will get bigger once we get more data and we can make better picks, much like football, where we start off slow because we don't know. How is Caleb? What's Bo Nix up to? What is Penix up to? What's Daniels up to? How are they getting with their new players? What's Russell Wilson going to do at Pitt? So once we learn that, then we got more confidence. Oh, I'm going to bet Mahomes. I'm going to bet Joe Burrow. I'm going to bet Herbert. I'm going to bet Stafford. I'm going to bet Brock Purdy because I know what I got there, right? Lamar, we know what we got. A guy who looks good against weak teams and then gets in against good defenses and doesn't show up. San Diego against the Dodgers. The Dodgers are big favorites. Let's see why. Matt Walden, 0-1 with a 3.86 against Gavin Stone, 0-1 with a 9. And we wonder why the Dodgers a big favorite when they get the pitcher is a 9 ERA. So I like San Diego only because they're such a big dog, although their pitchers 0-1 with a 3. I'll tell you what, let's go over with it. I can't play the Dodgers. Their pitcher sucks. LA over 9. So because their pitcher sucks, we know the Dodgers have good hitting and should score runs. And San Diego's pitcher, Waldron, 0-1 with a 3.86. So the Dodgers are going to get 6-7 runs. But San Diego's going to get 6-7 runs because Gavin Stone should be in the minor leagues, 0-1 with a 9.0 ERA. Maybe he shouldn't be, but as of now, he should be. If he gets better, then he can stay. So this should be very high scoring. Last but not least, the Cubbies against the Seattle Seahawks. The Cubs are minus 145 and 8. Shota Imagana, 1-0 with an 0-0, and Emerson Hancock, 1-1 with 11-4-2. The Cubbies are 145, and I can see why. Let's see, Shota Imagana. Where do they get these guys from? Oh, he's from Japan, undrafted. He beats Colorado 5-0, 6 innings, no runs, 2 hits. And he beats the Dodgers 8-1, but he only goes 4 innings. And he's a new pitcher, just starting. Got to watch his interpreter. So I don't buy 1-0 with an 0-0, so we're going over. Go Cubbies. The Cubs over 8. That's a good one. So this Emerson Hancock, 1-1 with an 11-4-2. So the Cubbies should eat him alive, but I don't. This Shoto, 1-0 with an 0, but he's pitched 2 games. He's pitched 4 innings a game, so you still got 5 innings with the bullpen if he can shut him out. But as they're getting tape on the guy and he's never pitched before, you start saying he's probably got a sinker or a curveball or something that they haven't seen. But as they see it, they'll go, oh, this is what he pitches. This is how we beat him. And that's it. So that's the bottom line. So Detroit over 8 in game 1. The New York Mets under 8.5. The White Sox are a play. Houston is a play. Pittsburgh under 8.5 is the third play. Then we got Washington over 8.5, Atlanta under 8.5, San Francisco over 7.5, Arizona over 10, the Dodgers over 9, and the Cubbies over 8. Why all the overs versus teams? I haven't heard of most of these pitchers. I don't see a Verlander or Scherzer there, so therefore I am not betting on the pitcher. I don't see McCullough for Tampa. So guys I would be comfortable betting on, I don't see. Basically, I'm betting against whoever the White Sox are playing and whoever and Houston's playing Texas. So I'm going against their pitcher, basically. And then the others just have high ERA guys because most of these guys suck. This is what kills me. You got like 13, 14 pitchers on your team. What are you doing? And then you pitch every 5th day. These guys can't get into rhythm. They're stuck with only 100 pitches, which is not enough to really develop. And it's ridiculous. See, you're worried about the injury, but you're not letting them develop. They should be pitching at least 8 innings every time out. Unless they get bombed, of course. You got a guy going. Well, Pittsburgh did that. The guy pitched 8 innings. He gave up 1 run to the Tigers, and then they bring in the bullpen in the 9th, and they lose. Well, why did you take him out? Let him pitch the whole freaking game. Well, he pitched 100 pitches. Well, let him be a man and pitch 110. Let him go 110, 120. But what you're doing is you're psyching the guy out. He's worried about, I can only pitch 100. So when he gets to the 90s, he gets tired psychologically because you're telling him that. Let him go. You can go as long as you want, as long as you can pitch. Then he doesn't have in his mind, I can only go 100 and I got to go harder. And then, once I hit 98, I'm going to get pulled. Now he's worried about that. This whole thing. You're screwing up the guys. Let the guy go as long as he can go. If he's pitching good, leave him out there. Let him develop his pitches, but you're not doing that. You're only giving them 100 pitches. You need 150 to develop. Let me throw a curveball here and a fastball here. What are they going to do here? The third time through the lineup, that's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard. Well, the stats show the third time through the lineup, the pitcher's strike. Yeah, ask Nolan Ryan, all his no-hitters, Sandy Koufax and Bob Gibson. I don't think they struggled the third time through the lineup. I think they knew the hitter and they knew how to get him out, not struggle a third time through the lineup. That's some fantasy analytic bullshit that, again, is ruining the game with all the analytics. Yeah, let's go for it on fourth down, Lions. Yeah, let's see how that works out. Oh, you didn't make the Super Bowl because you went for it on fourth down twice? Yeah, okay. You lost to Dallas because you went for two. Okay. Yeah, very good. That analytics really works. What a freaking joke that is. I don't know. I've been watching football since the 1960s. I think I never saw Lombardi go for two, he did go on fourth down in the ice ball. I do got to give that credit. But everything else, he's punting the ball. Oh, if we can only make the fourth down, we'll win the game. Yeah, but they're not going to let you just walk and make the fourth down. And let's run it up the middle. I'm sure that'll work because there's only 12 guys up the middle. And I'm going to run right into the wall, and I'm sure I'll get the first down that way. It's just so pathetic. Anyway, that's baseball. Let's go to what do we got? Any NFL news? How every NFL team should tackle the running back position. Oh my God, are you serious? This is we're going to rank teams by how much they need a quarterback. Oh my, what the fuck? Just pathetic. So let's go to any news. Basically, every team should have a good running back. You need balance on offense. You need the defense guessing. They won't be able to sit in a two-deep zone if you have running backs. And most of your receivers are a joke, Tag Taylor, most of your quarterbacks are a joke. Yeah, I mean, there's 6, 7 good quarterbacks. That's it. That's it in the league. The rest of these guys, we're going with Nick Mullins. We're going to go with Geno Smith. We're going to go with Dak Prescott. I mean, these guys suck. Hurts. Tagliabue, you go down the list. These guys suck. Oh, Steve Young on Carolina. Yeah, that's the answer. And they won't admit they're wrong. So they're going to keep him around for the 4 years, just like Chicago did with Fields and Chicago did with Mitch Trubisky and then Washington's doing with Thurston Howell. And you'll watch them. They'll just sit there and they won't admit that they've fucked up their draft because they're so stupid to understand what they're even looking for in the draft. What did I say? What are we looking for? We're looking for pitchers' ERAs to bet the games. What are they looking for in a quarterback? Well, you can throw the ball far. That's not a quarterback. Greg and John, pitchers used to pitch longer. Yeah, I know. I said that. Okay, what's the pick of the day? I missed it. Well, sorry, Greg and John. You'll have to rewatch the last 25 minutes. There really isn't one pick of the day. I like 3 games. The White Sox, Houston Oilers, and the Pittsburgh game under with Philadelphia. Those are the 3. It's the White Sox, Oilers, and Pitt under. The other games, should go because the pitching sucked. Like maybe Frisco over, I like a lot because the ERAs don't match the total. And the Dodgers over, the Cubbies over, a lot of overs. We will see. 2024 NFL draft. Top 5 linebackers based on who? Top 5 line, yeah, whatever. O.J. Simpson, legacy rang loudest, where his death created. Tom Brady cracks open door to possible return. Oh, there you go. Tom Brady. Okay. When he's back, let me know. Right now, I don't want to hear the bullshit. 2024 NFL Draft. Caleb, Drake May, James. Why is Drake May even listed? Why will he even get drafted? Amazing. How many games did North Carolina win last year? 5? Yeah, I want that quarterback. Otherwise, it's the draft primer. So really nothing, no news in the NFL that's worth anything. Anyway, Masters is not on till 3 o'clock. Let's look at the. Where is the leaderboard? Well, the leaders they teed off at 2:45. So I think it's on from 3 to 7 on CBS. I don't have ESPN the first 2 rounds. They got Penix low. Well, that's their fault. Tom Brady went in the 7th round. How did that work out? Penix should go to Seattle in the first round because it's his offensive coordinator. So that's a no-brainer. And Geno Smith's not that good. But that's okay where they have him in the draft because we're going to bet him once he's playing. And then you're worried, you're like, when's Hainer getting in for New Orleans? And when's Trask going to start for Tampa? So that's the problem. They get the talent and they don't use them. And it's just ridiculous. So we know Penix should be the first or second quarterback drafted. And these idiots don't know what they're doing. And then you wonder why they get Thurston Howell III and Steve Young, and they suck. It's not hard to understand why they suck. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they don't know how to draft. Why are these teams so stupid that you wonder why they are never good? Because they don't know what they're looking. That's the point I just made. If the GM doesn't know how to value a quarterback or a running back, doesn't understand his team, or if the team, probably the better answer to your question is because they're just in it as a business to make money. They're not in it to win. The Lions are like that. They're in it to make money, not to win. So therefore, they never pay their players who are on their second contracts. Look at Chris Spielman and all the only unless it's Barry and they have to, or Calvin Johnson or Stafford. Otherwise, they don't pay the second contract. And they draft shit. They draft a bunch of offensive linemen because they're cheap. And they are in it to make money. The TV revenue is going to give them X. So they pay as little as possible. And then they get to keep the money as the owners. I mean, it's not hard to understand. Just some teams have pride and want to win, and some teams don't have pride and don't want to win. So like most of the teams with the good owners, like the Niners, Pittsburgh, Dallas, you can see they have the money and they're trying to win. Their problem is they don't have a good GM. Well, Jerry Jones is his own GM. He doesn't understand Dak Prescott's terrible. So he keeps Dak Prescott, and he's missing the point. He's not any good. But since he's the GM, he doesn't know he's not any good. That's their problem. That's why they lose. Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, he's all done. Lamar, he's not good. But they don't know. They just keep him on because this is the problem. They don't know how to understand talent. They don't know how to win, except Kansas City stumbled onto Mahomes, who was the pick at the end of the first round. Nobody really wanted Mahomes. So they stumble into him. All right, Joe Burrow is a no-brainer, and you get Chase. Cincinnati wants to win. The Jets want to win. They get Aaron Rodgers, and Buffalo's confused. They got Josh Allen, but he's not that good, but they think he is. And then you got Tagovailoa, who sucks, but they don't, in a big game, he doesn't show up. And that's been his whole history at Alabama and here, and yet they keep him around wondering why they keep losing big games. He'll never win a big game. He doesn't know how. He's not that good of a quarterback. He's got a smooth throwing motion, doesn't make him a good quarterback. He can't read the defenses. That's the problem with most of these guys. They can't read the defense. Who are the scouts? I don't know. Obviously, it doesn't matter. Is it the scout? So the scout doesn't like Penix. Well, what was he watching? Did you not see Penix light up Oregon twice in Texas? All right, I had a bad game against Michigan because they blitzed them and they couldn't, and their runner was out, number 7. So you want to blame Penix for the Michigan game, but you don't get credit for the Texas and both Oregon games. So I see, I'm a scout. I look at that and I go, yeah, he wins game. He's a winner. That's what I want. But they don't look at Drake May and McCarthy. They're not looking at it like that. I don't know what they're looking at with McCarthy. He doesn't have an arm and he's terrible. He hasn't shown anything. He's a backup at best, on Houston or something. But this is the problem. They don't know how to, Drake May, he can throw the ball far and he's fast. That's not what I wanted. They don't know what they want as quarterbacks. They don't understand the process of how to pick, and they're picking more on what the fans might like, or the fans are deciding, or social media is deciding, and they're not stoic, so they don't see it. And, if it was me, my first pick would be Daniels or Penix. It would never be Caleb, and I would never take Drake May in the 7th round or McCarthy because they haven't shown shit. I would take Penix and Daniels, and then I would take Hartman and Bo Nix, and I would stay stoic to that. These guys look great. Why would I not take them? Why did you not take Bo Nix? What game are you looking at that he saw? Even the Washington games, he looked great in the games. It's not his fault. Penix was better, but that doesn't mean he didn't play defense. But what has Drake May ever done? They won 5 games. They got killed by Clemson. What are you looking at to think this guy's going to be any good, any better than Trubisky or Thurston Howell III? What are you looking at to see that? And I don't see it. So I don't know who the scouts are, Greg and John. They're just, I don't even know if they listen to the scouts. I think the GMs are horrible, and there's really no good GMs. Maybe the guy in Kansas City, I think, is okay. I think KC's smart that they signed Spagnuolo to another year or 2, or maybe 4 or 5. I mean, that was smart. The Lions should sign their offensive coordinator to 5 years, but they're not that smart. That's what they should do because they found the guy that's great, and we'll lose him as a head coach. Fuck that. Not if you sign him. Give him a nice bonus. He doesn't need to be a head coach. Why would you be a head coach if you can be a good offensive or defensive coordinator? So look at Saleh. He's a great defensive coordinator at San Francisco, and he goes to the Jets. So he can win 5 games a year. Now, he got smart enough they drafted Zach Wilson from BYU, who was very good there, but they don't know how to run the same offense. That's the first problem. Their offense looks like shit. And then they go get Aaron Rodgers, so he gets injured. Let's see Saleh coach with Aaron Rodgers if he's healthy and this defense, and they should be deep in the playoffs. It should be them in Kansas City for the championship if Rodgers stays healthy with this defense. Like I said last year, but Rodgers hurt right away. Who do you think is going to win? Yankees, Orioles? Well, they're already playing, aren't they? I don't know, Greg and John. I already said everything. Go back in my tape to about 140 or so and hear my picks. I don't know. I don't even think they play the Orioles thing. Do they play the Orioles? I don't know. I'm looking at golf. I'm already moved on. So a lot of these guys all the leaders go at 230. Yeah, a lot of the leaders go 230, 245. Tommy Fleetwood. I always like Fleetwood Mac. He always plays good, but never wins these tournaments, but I always like him. So that's the Masters. It's just, So Baltimore and the Yankees, they don't even play. Well, wait, no, they don't even play. The Yankees are playing Cleveland a doubleheader, and Baltimore is playing Milwaukee. What are you talking about? The Yankees in Baltimore. Do I play golf? Yes, I'm very good at golf. Most things I do, I learn the details and the mechanics, and I'm very good at. The only thing I'm not really great at is bowling. I get like a 160 average, but I've never really knew how to turn the ball over and hook it the way Johnny Petraglia or Anthony could do. So I never could figure out how to throw a strike ball. So it's pretty much throwing it out there. That's the only sport I probably never really excelled in. Golf, I've shot in the mid 70s before. I've got that pretty much down. But I don't know what you're talking about, Greg. The Yankees don't play Baltimore. So let's see, it's 1:30. So again, I am on my last day of my one day, my one meal a day. It started Sunday. I will finish it today at the barbecue, getting barbecue chicken, which is perfectly fine. I'll bring my French dressing, and I'll get barbecue chicken, and I'll get a salad, which I'll bring the dressing for, and coleslaw. I guess I get 2 sides. And that'll be dinner, and it won't be till after like 4:30 because I'm going to go to the pool after this, and I want to get there about 4:30, and then by the time they take the order and bring it out, so a little bit. But it's Saturday night. My Chinese is not open today. They're on spring break, so I can't get Chinese. So I'll get barbecue, which is good. I enjoy it, and that'll be that at like 4:30. So I'll stick in with the dinner and no desserts. And it's been good. I haven't had desserts in a week, and I haven't had pita in a week. Dark chocolate I've laid away from. So I've got all that sweet tooth out of my system. Lost a good 10 pounds, I think, but I don't weigh myself, but I can look at it going, yeah, a lot of this stuff you cleaned up. So I really reset was the point of it. So I'm excited, and today will be the last day, and tomorrow I'll go back to 2 meals, which simply means now I would make an omelet with veggies or meat in it, have a pita bread, have my avocado, and that would be my lunch, and then dinner would be the ribs or the chicken or the Chinese or whatever. So instead, I just haven't been eating lunch. So like now I'm pretty freaking hungry, but that's okay. But I'm feel much healthier, feel great. So highly recommend it. I know Bobby does that a lot. He'll go a day and he'll just eat dinner, and it's really good. And then the key is just really stay away from the sweets. If you can do nothing else, but I found 2 keys. One, stay away from like an ice cream or a donut. You eat it and you go, well, it's just one, and I feel good. And the second is the eating after dinner. So it's been great this week. I eat 5 o'clock, and by 6 I'm done. And then nothing after, because I start nibbling on popcorn or have a pita at 9, 10 o'clock because I'm hungry. And my willpower got weak. So I got the willpower back. So now I'm not eating for the whole week. I didn't eat after 6 o'clock or whatever. After dinner, I didn't eat. And so I got that back. That's critical because that keeps everything healthy and the weight off and everything. So you get into bad habits, which is why I did it. So it was a good week of eating 1 a day at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Nothing late, nothing all day, just a coffee and a water. And that's, I have more than one water. I heard a story where this guy did only water and tea for 380 days. I couldn't believe it. I go, how can you do that? He was 410 pounds, and he was going to probably die because he was overweight and everything. And so he said, I have to get down, to 200 pounds. And he started it. He wasn't planning on going a year, But what happened was he was fine. He said, I feel fine. I drink a lot of fluids. He started losing a lot of weight. And he said, wow, this is great. And so he went from 430 or 40 or whatever to 185. So it saved his life. And he's, I never heard of a year. I mean, I do, 3 days, and I'm very happy going 3 days as the walls start moving. But, I did a year. It was crazy. So I don't recommend that, but it's good to do the fasting's very good to do for a day or two, right? Just it cleans your system up, and it really gives you a lot of energy, and you feel much better, and you get that sugar out of your system, and you just like what I did was I just reset. So I basically now I'm like newborn now. I won't go to my desserts. I'll go to my dark chocolate and my avocados, and I'll start getting pita bread again tomorrow and have a little of that, because you stay away from bread. I don't have cereal or yogurt. So you're staying away from the carbs, and you're staying away from the sugar, the ice cream and cake and stuff. So that's the problem. You start breaking down and you start eating it, and then it becomes every day or every other day, or to wait. It's once a week, like your birthday or the Super Bowl or Christmas or New Year's is what it's intended for, not, go to the grocery store, have a donut, right? And a night buy some ice cream, and then you're eating it every day or every other day. Then you're in trouble because of too much sugar. Anyway. Bobby Bo is at the beach looking at the girl. Oh, I'm sure he is. Yeah, I haven't seen Bobby Bo. Well, I saw him a couple days ago. I did a late night one because gold was going through the roof, and him and Luke were on. But he's not. Well, I think he gets the economics, and it's just little changes like bricks and the gold price. But during football, he likes the football. So that's it's only April, so we got May, June, July. So we got 3 months till football, unfortunately. But the draft will be nice. Anyway, anything else? Anybody? I think I'm off to the pool. I'm really hungry, but I'll have some more to drink and get my mind on the pool and the bike, and then get to the barbecue place around. So that'll be there at 2, and then work out till 3-ish, and then drive to the club. Yeah, it'll be about 4 o'clock. It doesn't matter. I mean, if I started eating at 3:30, but I would. The reason I wait dinner like 4:35, even though I probably could eat at 3:34, is I don't want to get too hungry at night. So I eat a good dinner, and then I'm not that hungry at 8, 9 o'clock because I've waited till 5 to eat. So the key was not to eat that 8, 9, 10 o'clock snack, which I haven't. And normally I try not to, but you get into a rhythm when you don't eat it, and then you start breaking it, and then you start eating it. So that's why the reset. All right. Anyway, good luck today if you're playing the games. Otherwise, we'll watch the Masters. I think it's on 3 to 7. I don't know. It's not the same. I don't know half these players, and then they're on the other tour. So I don't know. We'll see who's in it, but I don't know half these golfers now, except for, Jason Day and Mickelson, and, there's no Nicholas. So I don't know. Most of these guys stink anyway. But anyway, so have a good day. Again, the picks are the White Sox, the Oilers, and Pittsburgh under 8.5 with Philly. Those are the picks. The other Washington over, Atlanta under, Frisco over, Arizona over, LA over, the Cubbies over. And we will see. Anyway, have a good day. Gold again was price fixed down. It's not lack of demand. As I said, Costco is selling 1 million ounces a month. So can't tell me there's no demand. It's just we got to get rid of this price fixing. But don't panic. What it does go down is from price fixing, not from profit taking. Nobody is profit taking gold. So don't worry about that. All right. Anyway, you have no choice. You have to get out of the dollar. It's going out. So there's no option. The dollar is being printed to death. So therefore, your alternative is to get into gold. In gold, you're fine, and off you go. Anyway, I think that's it. Have a wonderful day. www.teaserking.com. The site's working. If you want to email me, go there, get the email. And that's about it. So tomorrow, about 11-ish. No football, unfortunately. We'll dig up some more gold stuff. There's one on South Africa I wanted to watch. And that's about it. Okay, everybody. Well, have a good day. Relax, enjoy, watch your sweets, and just relax, enjoy. It's life.